You see, contrary to popular belief, ideas do not spring from some mythical eureka moment. What I want to do for a minute is talk about a job that I had when I was in college. And my summer job, I was a house painter. Now, you may not be able to tell from looking at me, but this was a long time ago, more than 35 years ago, and the world was a very different place. So obviously, no internet, no personal computers, no mobile phones, no streaming video. And back then, when you wanted to paint something, and you went to buy paint, and you went to a hardware store, it used to come in a container that looked like this. I know, frightening. So imagine my surprise when this last summer I went to paint my daughter's bedroom, and now it's a different world. I do have streaming video, and I do have Wi-Fi, and I do have self-driving cars, and I have all these amazing technological innovations. And when I went to the hardware to buy some paint, now, of course, it comes in a container that looks like this. No change in 35 years. Now, is that because this is the ideal container that's been developed to sell paint? Well, I certainly hope not. It is so deeply flawed. To start, imagine this process. I want to open this can of paint to start the whole thing. Now, what do I need? Well, of course, you need a screwdriver. Now, what consumer product do you need a screwdriver to open? But so be it. I find a screwdriver. I pry off the top. And now I have this top of paint covered with paint, and I've got to figure out somewhere to put it so I don't step in it or make a mess of the floor. I figure that out. Now it's time to stir the paint. Another innovation, they've developed a very sophisticated product for stirring the paint, and it's called a stick. You can see it in the top here. So it works pretty well. You stir the paint, but now you've got a stick covered with paint. So you've got to get the paint off the stick, and there's a time-honored technique we use where we draw it across the edge of the can, and now it's dry on one side and there's paint the other. So of course, what do? You flip it over and you stick it back in the can. And now both sides are wet, a little bit less so, and you do this iterative back and forth until you've got a partly dry stick, and you put it with the top, put it aside. Now it's time to paint, and so I go pour my paint in my tray, and then when I pick it back up, unless I'm extremely careful, two things happen. The first is, you can see the can has an easy pour spout. So the paint drips down the side of the can, which of course, again, I've got to be careful I don't touch or get in the floor. But worse, it fills up that little lip that the top sits in. Now, I'll talk more about that in a moment. Now, I'm not going to go into the process of how I have to tape my windows, and I've got to put down drop cloths, and I've got to scrape things, and I have rollers, and to clean up, I've got to pull the roller off, the end off the roller handle, and clean out a... You all have been there. You know how bad this is. I'm just going to talk about the final step when I pour the remaining paint back into the can, and I'm going to seal the can. Now, it made sense that to open this can, I used a screwdriver. So to close it, what do I need? Why, a hammer, of course. That makes perfect sense. Put the lid on, give it a wax with the hammer, and of course I forgot about the paint in the lip, and boom, paint all over the room. Now, I'm not telling you this so that you feel sorry for my painting. I'm telling it because I hope, as I told this story, you were thinking to yourself, why don't they sell paint like a milk carton? Or even better, why don't they sell it in the kind of container the detergent comes in? With a little lid, the detergent can go back in. Or why don't they have a spare lid with a top you can get as an aftermarket product? Or why isn't there a stirrer? Or why didn't they? Or why can't they? Or why won't they? Hopefully, just sitting here in 2 or 3 minutes, you had a dozen ideas spinning through your head. And that's where ideas come from. Because if you can do it for my stupid painting story, imagine how good you're going to find out what's wrong with things you actually know well. You see, contrary to popular belief, ideas do not spring from some mythical eureka moment. You have to be looking for them. The idea for Netflix, for example, did not come from some moment of anguish over a late fee on a movie. We were looking for that idea.
Thanks for watching, and if you liked what you saw, I'd love you to subscribe. And if you want to be notified of my future releases, well, you know the drill, just hit the bell.